Connolly in prison. Richard, thank you very much for joining me. Perhaps we'll start on what's your take today on the news. She's been released early, which I think is great news, but what's your take on that so far?
Well, it is good news that finally Lucy is a free woman again. She should never have been incarcerated in the first place. She's the victim of a major miscarriage of justice. And I think it's also pretty shocking when we discover in the last few days that one Keir Starmer, when he was Director of Public Prosecutions back in 2013, issued guidance which said that people who put offensive tweets online, if they were removed and that they showed deleted and they showed remorse, they should not be prosecuted or jailed. And that just proves the hypocrisy of the Prime Minister. That proves two-tier Keir and two-tier justice. And so, yeah, and we've seen it just recently. But I guess we've got to focus on the positives. When I visited Lucy, I found her, despite all the provocations that she had, despite some completely inappropriate assault that she had from some prison warders in prison previously towards just from when I visited. She has been resilient, and I hope that she's able to have what will no doubt be a very emotional reunion with her daughter, with her husband, and family and friends. And I hope that she can move forwards from this terrible ordeal that she suffered as quickly as possible.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think it's great that she's been released. It's very good news for her, given the situation she's in, and also personally too. I want to talk about following your meeting with Lucy. You called for a thing called Lucy's Law, which would be some sort of petition or a backstop to at least allow the public to petition for the sort of at least the rejection of these very severe penalties, particularly on things like free speech. Do you think you'll be pursuing those sorts of policies? Will Reform UK be pursuing a more free speech agenda?
We will definitely be pursuing an agenda based around free speech, freedom of expression. We know that the United States government is also actually looking very closely at the UK and what's happened to this critical issue of free speech in the UK. And the whole point of Lucy's Law that I introduced with a draft bill was, if someone has what's perceived to be too lenient a sentence, then a person can ask the Attorney General to re-look at it. But if someone has too harsh a sentence, there appears to be no mechanism to review that. And what I was really saying was not actually relitigate the trial, but it's like a sort of a triple check of the sentence. I think in a democracy, we should be willing to say occasionally, even our learned friends, that judges can get things wrong. And if many hundreds of people sign a physical petition, then it's not unreasonable to essentially ask for a relook at the sentence. That's what it's about. And yeah, I think these things are about triggering debate and checking that we've got the right balance right. And at the moment, I fear that we've got it very wrong when we've got a Prime Minister who essentially ordered the judiciary last August. He gave them an order, basically, to punish everybody very severely, and they sort of took him at their word. I think the whole legal establishment took the Prime Minister at their word, and that had very grave consequences for the separation of powers between what we call the executive, which is the government, the judiciary, i.e. the judges, and the legislature. So, yeah, significant implications from what the Prime Minister did last year. And again, why were all these people, why was Lucy advised to plead guilty? We just recently had the incident of the Labour councillor, Ricky Jones. He was found not guilty by a jury, him having pled not guilty. And it does make you sort of ask serious questions about why they were all sort of rushed to plead guilty, and with the promise of that normally means a slightly lighter sentence. And actually it didn't. What it meant was basically an even harsher sentence than they might have expected if they had pled not guilty.
Yeah. And Richard, do you think, is your opinion that the judiciary is broken in that sense? Do you feel like there is a sense that there is activist judges now, perhaps taking cues from the Prime Minister, who did come out very strong after the Southport riots and said he did want to crack down, he wanted to crack down the courts? Is there perhaps too much crossover between politics and the judiciary, and have judges become too politically active?
I think we do have very serious concerns about that. There was within this case, and then also just with regard to a slightly unrelated thing, but immigration tribunals, where you've got the judges there making what, frankly, are, many of us believe, activist-style judgments about the suitability of someone to be deported or to be granted the ability to stay in the United Kingdom, despite having clearly been a complete wrong-un. And some of the examples that we see and hear of are just ludicrous, where someone's allowed to stay here because they couldn't get chicken nuggets to the same delicious flavour in their country of origin. I mean, it just beggars belief what's going on.
Lots of bonkers stuff. Richard Tice, Deputy Leader of Reform UK there. Thank you so much for